on the News Channel 5 network. This is Sportsline.
Hey, welcome to Sportsline, everybody, right here on News Channel 5 Plus. Yours truly, Jon Burton, with you for the next hour. 737-7767 is the number to call. Are we live on Facebook right now, Taylor? Oh, we are not live on Facebook, so it's just us right here on News Channel 5 Plus. Great to have you with us. We'll be with you, as we said, for the next hour. Anything that's on your sporting mind, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. A couple of news and notes from today. Steve Lehman reported earlier today that the Tennessee coaching search, we have an update. Philip Fulmer has set his sights on, looks like he wants an SEC defensive coordinator. He had a second round of talks with Alabama's Jeremy Pruitt and Auburn's Kevin Steele, and Georgia's Mel Tucker also in the mix for the head coaching job at the University of Tennessee. This according to Steve Lehman, who reported that about an hour or so ago. Look for an update later on tonight over on News Channel 5 Plus, or I'm sorry, over on News Channel 5 with Steve during our News Channel 5 at 10 broadcast. Right now, by the way, halftime college basketball, Vanderbilt leads at home over Middle Tennessee 32-28. They've just gone to the half. So a good game going on there. Steve will, of course, have highlights of that game and post-game reaction on News Channel 5 at 10 during sports. So a good battle of local rivals meeting on the hardwood, Vanderbilt hosting Middle Tennessee. Right now, we're going to talk some Titans football. They've got an interesting couple of weeks coming up. They're at Arizona on Sunday, and then they're going to stay in the desert, practice in Arizona all week, and then make the trip to Northern California to take on the San Francisco 49ers the following Sunday. And here to talk all things Titans, you know him from 104.5 The Zone, the midday 180 from noon to 3, and his brand new, well, it's not that brand new, but it's still pretty new, his exclusive Titans Access website, paulkaharski.com. It's our good buddy, El Jefe, the one and only Paul Kaharski. Paul, thanks for jumping on tonight. How you doing?
What's up, John? I owe you a T-shirt from the site, but I don't know if they have enough fabric to make the guy as muscular as you.
Well, I'll take an extra large. Yeah, I used to go double XL, but I like them a little smaller these days, you know? I mean, show off the gains.
Yeah, okay.
Paul, I don't know if you had a chance to check out Neil Greenberg's article in the Washington Post talking about the Titans' 8-4 record being a total mirage and that they're not as good as their record would indicate. Look, I understand this team has flaws, as you know, you and I well know. We cover this team. But I also am old school. I also believe, you know, growing up in New York, being a Giants fan, Bill Parcells always said, you are what your record says you are. Despite their flaws, despite their negative point differential and some of the problems they've had in terms of consistency, turnovers, this is still an 8-4 football team in first place in their division.
Yeah, I did read the piece, and I don't really understand the reluctance to give them credit. And I thought exactly the same thing you did. You are what your record is. And when they were 3-13 a couple of years back, nobody was looking to pad that and turn it into something good. I don't know why people are anxious to turn this into something bad. Clearly, they haven't played great football, but the whole thing is about finding a way to win. So the fact that they haven't played good football consistently, you know, might tell us that this is more impressive, not less impressive. And, you know, look, I'm not satisfied with what they've done offensively. I think they oversold what they could be offensively, that they might hold it back a little bit. Special teams, you know, we heard a ton about these three veterans that they brought in, and I don't think they've made a great deal of difference. The special team seems neutral at best to me. But, you know, they've been, for years and years, we've said this team's got to be able to win this division with such bad competition, and now the division gets beat up, and they're doing what you'd expect, and they deserve some degree of credit for it. And a lot of people, too, are coming with well, they're not going to be able to win in the playoffs. But listen, they won 5 games over 2 years, a couple years ago. I think if they get to the playoffs this season, they're on track in a rebuild. You know, you don't have to be good enough to win in the playoffs to be allowed in the playoffs. You do what you do in the 16 games. You get in the playoffs if you can. Then you don't know what happens. But I got news for everybody. There are going to be other mediocre AFC teams in the playoffs. This isn't going to be number 6, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, no question about it. I'm in total agreement with you after what we saw in successive years, winning just 5 games and all the problems they had with Ken Wisenhunt, et cetera, to be in this position. You would think Titans fans and people around the NFL would be, more favorable of the Tennessee Titans. I should mention that Neil Greenberg, who wrote that piece, couple things. It's on both my Twitters, at Jon Burton 32 and at NC5_Jon Burton, if you'd like to read them. And also, we attempted to get Neil Greenberg on our show tonight, but he has another commitment. But he did agree to come on this show at some point. I'd love to get him on and kind of have him explain his side of the things. Again, the name of the article, the headline reads, "The Titans' 8-4 record is a total mirage." I want to take you back, Paul, to last week's game, the win over the Texans, and talking to Delaney Walker after the game, Delaney to be a pretty honest guy. He tells it like it is. And, he said something that I thought really struck a chord with me in the fact that he said, I don't think teams in the past would have been able to get down 10-0 like we did, even though we were at home, and have the heart to keep fighting and to come back. This team has that heart. So despite all these flaws and what everybody's writing, and you made it clear that there are certain flaws with this football team, you have to admire the fact that this team doesn't have any quit in them. And I can honestly say, I was at the game Sunday, even when they got down 10-0, I was pretty confident they were going to find a way to win that game.
Well, the script has been very, very similar in a lot of their games, in that they fall behind and then find a way to pull back to level and give themselves a chance. Obviously not the case in the Houston game, obviously not the case, though they hung around for a while in Pittsburgh. And everybody wants to talk about the point differential. I mean, again, wins and losses are the number one thing. I don't know why people want to grade point differential above wins and losses. But if you get blown out twice, once 57-14 in Houston, another time pretty bad in Pittsburgh,
right, and
you win all your games close, your point differential is not going to be great. Again, the 8-4 is the key thing. I think that they, I forgot that. John, remind me where we were going. I sidetracked myself on point differential. Maybe you should have had John Glennon on tonight.
No, you were my first choice. Let's talk about Marcus Mariota. Obviously, a nice bounce-back game for him last week. No interceptions, but he did admit the week before that some of the interception problems that he's had is not stepping into his throws, throwing off of his back foot. Pretty good for a quarterback to come clean and say, "Look, I've got some flaws in my mechanics right now, and I need to clean them up." And I think you would agree with me that if anybody's going to learn from his mistakes and get better going forward, it's got to be a kid like Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, and I like what he said. I'm kind of puzzled as to why Rubisky usually defers to Jason Michael, the quarterback coach, on things like quarterback mechanics, and I haven't talked to Michael lately. But Malarkey declines to say anything about Marcus's mechanics, which is a little bit odd. And I'm always a little bit wary of how teams handle their franchise quarterbacks. Dating back to McNair, I think McNair and Mariota are similar in that they both try to take the blame for everything. I asked Marcus today about the low shotgun snaps and how much that throws things off, and he made it like it wasn't Ben Jones's fault. I can do better with those snaps. If that's on me, I got to collect it and look up quicker. Ben Jones has something going on with his elbow, and McNair could do that too. McNair would always say, you'd ask him about the bad receivers he was playing with, and he'd always put it on himself, which was a good thing because the organization never said anything negative about McNair. And it's not saying anything negative about Marcus, except, the occasional, that was definitely a bad throw. Mm-hmm. But he's willing to talk about that he's not stepping into his throws or that he's throwing off his back foot. And as honest and candid as Malarkey generally is with player critiques and telling us who made the mistake on a key play and all of that after they've discussed it in-house, they never say anything about Marcus's mechanics, which I think is partly because they feel like it'd be self-indicting. But I think that missed off-season, really hurt him in terms of polishing some of that stuff. And then missing time with a new guy like Corey Davis, who missed time himself. Taywan Taylor, Eric Decker didn't come around until later. But that missed off-season hurt him in ways that we're still seeing now, I think.
Talking with Paul Kaharski from 104.5 The Zone, his own website, paulkaharski.com. You can follow him on Twitter as well, as many of you, I'm sure, do. Paul, I want to talk about the Titans' defense. It looks like the pass rush is coming along. A lot of sacks these last 2 weeks. Do you sense a pattern with this pass rush and them getting to the quarterback?
It's getting better, that's for sure. My dog's about to go crazy as my little boy gets home.
Hey, Simon, what's up, buddy? Tell him hello for me.
Thank you, guys. I think that they've talked a lot about pressure this year and getting pressure, and it's turned into sacks a little bit more. Certainly 2 games ago, with Jacoby Brissett holding on to the ball too long, it could have turned into more. Oh goodness, could have turned into more this last week and didn't. But they don't have the dynamic edge rusher that we all hoped we would see this year. Morgan's now got a little bit of a knee issue. He and Arakpo are good, but not great.
Yeah.
Well, Casey hasn't gotten back there quite as much as we're used to or finished. And we know that Kevin Dodd is not productive in his limited action, which gets Eric Walden on the field a little bit more. And so, pressure has to be good enough. The coverage is getting better, too, and they're working in concert. But certainly, a key sack, a key strip fumble would really help this team in the last 4 and if and when it plays in the postseason.
Paul, you mentioned injuries, and I know they've had some key players out at certain times, but they've been able to kind of overcome it to the tune of an 8-4 record and first place in their division. But now, after last week, seems like the injuries are starting to pile up a little bit. It seems like we really need to pay more attention to the injury report from this team every week.
Well, they've been really fortunate. Even Daquan Jones now suffering a season-ending injury comes with 4 games left, so they're going to miss him, obviously. He was playing his best ball.
Yeah, it's a shame. He was playing so well. It's really a shame to see him out for the season.
And I wonder how it affects the market for him, because he's one of the 2 Titans of note, along with Avery Williamson, coming free. Ryan Suckup might be on that list as well. But the hamstring, certainly it's hurt Corey Davis. Certainly Delaney Walker hasn't always been completely at full strength, as good as he's been. Mariota has carried some of that stuff. DeMarco Murray's been beat up. Really showed some burst last week that we haven't seen in some time. But their ability not to suffer season-ending injuries, and I know Mike Malarkey would be going crazy knocking on wood, has been big. They were very healthy last year, very, very healthy. Not quite as healthy this year, but still nobody disappeared in the first 6 weeks of this season. That was a key for them throughout. And, if the worst you're going to suffer is 4 games of Daquan Jones and 2 games of Rashard Matthews and 1 game of Mariota, that's not bad if you compare it around the league. We're looking at the injury report now. I mean, Arizona has, I think they counted 14 or 16 guys on there. They don't know if Adrian Peterson is going to play this weekend. As much a big deal as everybody made about the hamstrings, and it seemed like more than a coincidence that there were so many of them, overall health has not been an issue for the Titans compared to most teams around the league, I would say. And you just look in the division. I mean, Deshaun Watson could have changed everything in this division, and Andrew Luck certainly could have as well. And what have we seen collectively from them? 6 games?
Yeah, something like that. We're finishing up with Paul Kaharski here on Sportsline. All right, Paul, critical stretch coming up for the Titans. 2 straight road games on the West Coast at Arizona Sunday. They're going to stay in Arizona during the week and then fly to San Francisco or Northern California, that area, next Friday, and they go in to take on the 49ers. Always tough to play on the road in this league, but they are playing 2 teams with sub-500 records. And being in this divisional race, this is a critical time. They got to get it right on Sunday, and they got to get their work done during the week and show up the following Sunday in San Francisco ready to play.
They've got a lot of these guys haven't played in either of these stadiums. I haven't been to either of these stadiums. I was to an Arizona Super Bowl week, but not to the game. So I'm eager to see both, though all reports are that the Santa Clara Stadium's a disaster in terms of getting to it and having people show up at it. The Titans need to win 2 of these last 3, 2 of these next 3, those 2, and then back here against the Rams. If they win 2 of those next 3, they are assured of playing for the division title on December 31st in a worst-case scenario with the head-to-head win already over Jacksonville. So they're sitting pretty, and I don't know what Seattle does Sunday in Jacksonville, but I think most people would like the Seahawks in that game. And that's probably the toughest game left on anybody's schedule. I don't know. I like the Rams a lot, but the Rams are going to be pretty beat up by the time they get out here because they've got two tough games between now and then. And that Houston-Jacksonville game concerns me a little bit for Jacksonville as well, just because I feel like Houston or Indianapolis, the way it's usually gone is the bottom teams in this division have some influence over who wins it. Mm-hmm. Maybe Houston's win over Tennessee will be the only one of note. But Titans are in good shape here. They can't afford to give one back. And they have a chance, I think, to gain one this weekend. Arizona's offense not very good. Blaine Gabbert, played well against the Jaguars. Their defense isn't bad. And so, everybody's waiting for the Titans to run away from somebody. I don't see why anybody should expect that. I expect every week to look like every week has looked, and for them to, probably be in it at the end and against inferior teams be in position to win it at the end.
Yeah, like you said, they are what their record says they are. They're a team that plays close games. They're not going to blow anybody out. All right, Paul, we know about your great work on 104.5 The Zone. You have thousands upon thousands of followers on Twitter. Before we get you out of here, I want you to plug your website because I think it's outstanding.
Well, I appreciate it. Check out the site, paulkuharski.com. It gets you everything that I write there, and I'm now doing more self-produced video pieces there, and it also gets you into a private Facebook group, which you can only get in by being a member, where we chat about anything and everything. And then, I do some public periscopes and Facebook Lives, but the best ones are with this closed group, tight-knit. We've kind of gotten to know each other, and we talk at halftime on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and then I from the stadium after the Titans finish playing, so you get my review of the game. And it's been a pretty great experience so far building this, and the people who are in at the ground floor, I'm really excited to have as members. So I hope people will check it out, and it's on sale right now. I think very reasonably priced.
Just in time for the holidays. You know how to make a sale, my friend. Paul, thanks so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it.
Sorry about the dog there, Johnny.
That's all right. The dog was excited you were on Sportsline. Why wouldn't he be? Or she?
Good boy, Finley. Good boy.
Have a great night, Paul. Thanks. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more Titans. We're going to hear from some of the things that went on at practice today. Bottom of the hour, we're going to talk Preds with Robbie Stanley from NHL.com. Preds are red hot right now, so we'll get Robbie's thoughts on the blue and gold. Stay with us. Your phone calls as well. We're back after this.